Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Isn't She Powerful podcast. In this episode, I'm actually going to be responding to a text message from one of you guys. If you go down into the show notes, then you are going to find a link at the very top that says send us a text. And in that, you can send me a direct message with a question or a comment, something that you want me to make an entire podcast episode about. And I recently got a message from Michelle. Michelle said, I randomly found you and I love you. And Michelle, I love you right back. Thanks for finding me and thanks for loving me and spending time with me on the podcast. She said, my issue is I am going through some difficult days. I know I'm using food to soothe me. What can I do to stop this? So in this episode, I'm going to give you, if you relate to this topic at all, I know Michelle is not the only one who goes through difficult times and uses food as a coping mechanism. I'm going to tell you 3 things, a 3-step process that can guide you through what to do in these moments when you catch yourself turning to the food instead of problem solving. Instead of just facing the problem head on, you turn to food. I'm going to help you navigate that situation. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube rather than listening to it on the podcast, you don't have the option to send a text. That is not in the show notes at the bottom of this for you, but you can just simply comment on a video and I will find the comment and make an entire episode specifically for you. So with that being said, let's get into this episode from Michelle. All right, so as I said, I'm going to be sharing with you a 3-step process for how to navigate this. And I'm going to be so honest, I've been here many times too. That's why I know that Michelle is not the only person experiencing this. Nobody is alone in experiencing the fact that whenever things start to get a little heated, maybe it's that you're starting to get stressed and overwhelmed. I like to say I'm a procrastinator because whenever things start to get a little overwhelming, my desk starts to fill up, my email starts to fill up, whatever that looks like, I want to turn to food. It's just a constant. It's something that I know I'm not going to have to think too much about. Nothing's going to be different about it. Nothing's going to be overwhelming. I'm just going to be able to go eat the food. And it brings that comfort because it's a constant in this time where my life is feeling a little chaotic. Maybe you're somebody who's going through a difficult time, like with a family member, a sickness, or something like that, a divorce, anything along those lines. In those moments, whenever life is feeling like it's falling apart around you, again, food is a constant. And so I know that there's people out there experiencing this issue. Thank you, Michelle, for bringing it to the attention of everybody who's listening so that everybody can know, wait, other people are going through this. So the first thing I want you to do when you are experiencing that feeling, I want you to just pause. And I know that that sounds so frustrating to hear because it's just one word. It sounds so simple, but it's not simple. It's one of those things that it's like, yeah, that's a lot easier said than done, Laura. But I want you to get really, really consistent and intentional about taking a moment. Whenever you do start to catch yourself running to the pantry, opening the drawer in the refrigerator, finding something to shove into your mouth, I want you to just take one tiny second. It's not about stopping this pattern altogether. It's about learning to slow it down. That's what I want you to start focusing on. I'm not trying to stop eating food. I'm trying to slow down the habit of turning to food in these stressful situations. When you pause, I want you to ask yourself a key question. What do I actually need right now? We just recently finished up week 4 of Seismic Shift with my group coaching clients, and week 4 is all about cravings and food noise and how to stop overeating and binge eating. Like, that's the entire topic. And honestly, that's the big reason why people come to me and work with me, because I'm really good at helping people through that exact situation. Like, that's what I needed so bad. And that's what I had to overcome. And whenever I did, I was like, my mission is to help people through this because, man, it sucks to feel like you have no control around food, to feel like food is haunting you and taking up all of the space in your brain is constantly filled with Oreos and cookies and potato chips and candy and all kinds of things that you don't want to be eating. You know it's not going to help you get to the end goal of your health goals, but at the same time, it's all that you're thinking about. It's like it won't stop. So I know what that feels like. And one of the things that really helped me was asking myself that core question. What do I actually need right now? Because what I found was, especially when I was feeling very overwhelmed or stressed or frustrated, eating food only compounded onto that problem. It only made me feel that emotion more. When I was stressed and then I turned to food, man, the only thing I felt was more stress, because now not only am I stressed about all the papers that are on my desk, I'm also stressed because there's candy wrappers on my desk, and I said I wasn't going to eat candy anymore. So that question of what do I actually need right now really helps you to put things into perspective. Eating is not going to make this problem go away. Eating is not going to make me feel better right now. What would make me feel better? And sometimes it is going for a walk. Sometimes it is getting outside. Sometimes it's taking a breather. A 10-minute, let me just go do something different than what I'm doing right now. Sometimes it's having a conversation with somebody. Maybe that's a tough conversation. Maybe it's a vulnerable conversation. Sometimes it's just about getting your thoughts out and into maybe the ears of somebody else, or maybe onto a paper. Maybe you need some kind of connection with people. Maybe you need rest. A big one is that you're not actually slowing down at all any point during the day, and your body is screaming at you, and it knows whenever you do go eat, you take a little bit of time to do it. So it's like, dude, if we could just relax for a minute, why don't we just tell her to eat so we can just get a minute to have a breather? So really ask yourself, what's the situation for me? What do I actually need right now? And how can I start to do that thing rather than feeling like I just need to punish myself and stop eating the food? Because whenever you do that, what you're doing is, whenever you're telling yourself, I'm not allowed to have this food, we got to stay away from the food, this food, this food, this food, all your body is hearing is this food, this food, this food. It's not hearing stay away from it. It's not hearing don't eat that food. It's just thinking about the food that you're wanting to eat. So if I say don't eat the Oreos, all you're thinking about now is the Oreos, rather than thinking about the foods that you do want to be eating. So instead of trying to make this problem go away, instead try to think about how you can add something into your life that will support you in the way that your body is asking to be supported right now. So the first step in this process is to identify what your body needs instead of the food, or rather in conjunction with the food, because sometimes you really just need a snack. Sometimes your body actually does need nourishment. So sometimes food is involved in this situation, right? But asking yourself, what do I actually need right now? That's step one. And then step two is to actually do that thing. Because it's very easy to be like, yeah, I know that I probably need to get out for a walk right now, but I'm going to eat some chocolate instead, right? We know, how many times, I cannot tell you how many times I hear people say to me, I know what to do, I just don't do it. And I have an entire podcast episode that's literally titled that, why you know what to do but don't actually do it. I can link it down in the show notes of this episode. But regardless, I hear that so many times. People always saying, I know what to do, but I don't do it. So the second step in this is to actually do the thing that you know your body is asking for. And again, sometimes you can pair that with the food, because in the beginning, it's going to feel really strange and really awkward, and honestly, very challenging for you to say, we're not going to eat food, we're going to go do XYZ thing instead. We're going to go sit down on the couch. We're going to go outside for a walk. We're going to go do some stretching. So instead of saying it's an either or situation, bring the food into this situation. So maybe you say, I'm going to have a snack while I do this other thing that will also support me, while I sit outside and get some fresh air, while I take a few minutes to work on my puzzle. So while you're doing this other thing that is actually what your body needs to support you, add in the food so that it's giving your body almost like a bridge. It's almost like a bridge to get you from where you are right now, which is only using food, to where you want to be, which is only using this thing that you know your body needs. Having these two things together is the bridge that gets you from point A to point B. And what it does is it helps to teach your nervous system that this is okay. It's okay for you to do this other thing to bring you comfort. Because right now, what your body is recognizing as comfort is food. Your body is associating comfort with food. Those two things are connected in your brain and in your body right now. So what you need to do is find another connection for your body. You need your body to start connecting, going for a walk, listening to a podcast, getting outside in some fresh air, having a conversation. You need your body to start connecting something like that with this feeling of comfort and calm and safety. And in order for that to happen, you can bridge these two things together. And then step 3 is to start preparing your body in advance of these things happening. You know you're going through a tough time. You know that you're feeling some challenges right now. You know that things are not as they should be for you right now. And that means that you are feeling more stress. That means your body is in this heightened sense of emotion. And that is very stressful for your body long term. So of course it's turning to food, this constant thing like I talked about at the beginning. Of course it's turning to this thing that has never let you down, this thing that has always brought you comfort, always brought calm and peace. So instead of waiting until that time whenever your body starts to scream at you and say, hey, we want some sugar, hey, we need you to eat this, instead of waiting for that to happen, be proactive with it. Take back some of your autonomy, take back your control, and you can do that by being prepared in advance. You know that right now your dad is sick and going through cancer treatments, and that's super stressful. You know that right now you're getting a divorce. You know that right now your kids are struggling in school. You know that there's all this stuff going on in your life, whatever it may be. So instead of waiting for that moment whenever your body starts to scream at you, be proactive. And what does this actually look like day to day? Number one, prioritize having well-balanced meals. If you don't follow me on social media already, this is your sign to go follow me at Laura B Healthy on Instagram. I share so many healthier recipes, and right now I'm really leaning into doing simple is sustainable recipes because I want you to understand that healthy doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be 50 ingredients. It doesn't have to take you an hour and a half to make dinner. It can be super simple and still be healthy, and that's my entire goal with that series. But through eating those meals, you're going to find that your body screams at you less. The food noise is lessened, the cravings are lessened, your desire to turn to food in these stressful moments becomes lessened because you actually are full, you're satisfied, your body doesn't need as much food. And then because you are bridging all of these things so that you can start having these new ways of coping, because you're bringing those things into your reality more often, then eventually your body is going to say, well, we don't even need the food. We can just have this other thing that's actually going to give us what we want and need instead. So it's going to make that process of getting across the bridge a lot faster. So you're going to eat well-balanced meals consistently. That means that you are eating enough food throughout the day. If you are not eating enough food, honey, you are going to have more cravings because your body needs to get its nourishment. You are asking it to do a million things right now. And by the way, when your body is in this heightened state of emotion, then it burns more calories already. It is already using more of your energy and using more of your fuel to keep going day to day. And I know that there's somebody out there who just heard that and they're like, oh, it burns more calories for me to be stressed? Well, good. I need to be stressed then so that I can lose this weight. That's not how it works. Your body is burning more fuel, so you need to give it more fuel. You need to nourish it well. So if you're skipping meals and you're asking it to do all this other stuff and you're heightened emotionally, then of course you're going to have cravings all the time. Of course you're going to want to turn to food because your body doesn't have what it needs to keep going day to day. So it's going to ask you for what it needs to keep going day to day. Okay, so the number one thing that you need to do in advance to be proactive, to not let yourself get to this situation, is to make sure that you are eating healthy, well-balanced meals consistently. Breakfast, lunch, dinner every single day, and a snack in the afternoons if you need it. If you find that you're starting to get hungry, maybe in the afternoons, check in with yourself. Am I actually physically hungry or am I emotionally hungry? Because since this is one of those situations where you are turning to food in response to an emotion, sometimes we can confuse those two things. So that's when you have to do that step one, pause, ask yourself what you actually need. And if you actually need food, then make sure that that's what you're giving your body. Don't try to ignore it. Don't try to make it go away, because what's going to happen is you're going to get home, you're going to get to work, wherever your next stop is, wherever there's food available, and you're going to start shoveling things in. So instead of that, pause, ask yourself what you actually need, and then if you need a snack, have something well balanced. And then also, I know that sleep can be challenging during this time. It can be really easy for you to lose sleep over whatever is stressing you out in these moments, but sleep is so, so important to your overall health, and it's super, super important to you maintaining a clear mind in terms of not having food noise, not having all of these cravings. Sleep and cravings are directly connected, and that's a big piece of what I teach inside of my program. I won't go into the details here because that could be a whole other episode. But if you make sure that you are getting really good quality sleep, you're getting enough sleep and it's quality sleep. That is going to dramatically help this craving situation that you're feeling in these moments of high stress and high intensity, as well as staying hydrated. Keep your water bottle with you. Have it with you all the time. I just got in my car today, from the day that I'm filming this, I just got in my car and I sat down and I was like, I put my phone in my cup holder, and usually my phone doesn't go in the cup holder. Usually it goes in like another little slot in my car. And I was like, why is there room in my cup holder right now for my phone? And then I was like, oh, my water bottle, I don't have that. So I ran back inside and got my water bottle, filled it up, and then brought it back out with me. And that was my sign of, I've got to make sure that I'm staying hydrated today, because I was just about to forget about the entire thing. So staying hydrated also really helps in this situation. So bring your water bottle with you, get enough good quality sleep, and eat enough good quality food, okay? Those are such vital things that you can start doing in advance to help you get to these other situations less often, to help you have to not ask yourself so often, what do I actually need right now? Because your body doesn't even go into that survival mode of screaming at you and asking for so much food when you're feeling all of these emotions. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here and listening to this episode. Thank you to Michelle for asking for this episode, sending this question into us. If you have a question, if there's anything that you want me to make an entire episode about, go down into the show notes. Right at the very top, it says send us a text, and you can send me a text and ask for whatever you want me to talk about. I am happy to talk in depth about anything that I've talked about previously on this podcast, or just in general, any health questions that you have that I feel qualified to answer. Using food to cope in these stressful situations by no means that you are weak or that you don't have enough willpower. I used to believe that in my core. I used to believe that something was wrong with me because I wanted to turn to food in these situations. Nothing is wrong with you. You're literally just a human. You're just a person who also struggles with some of these things. So with that being said, try to stop blaming yourself all the time. Try to stop making yourself feel bad or put so much pressure on yourself, and use these tools that we talked about in this episode. Number one thing, pause before you start eating, before your hand reaches into that pantry. Pause and ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? And then whatever the thing is, start to do that thing. You can add in food while you're doing that thing to help bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And then eventually I want you to get to the place where that's the thing that you're doing naturally. That's the first instinct that you have, is to do this other thing that your body is asking for in these moments of high intensity and high stress. And I look forward to seeing all of you again in the next episode. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again next week. And always remember, the more you know, the more you grow.